When it was within reach, Omori took a step backward, slowly leading it toward the stone trap. The beast followed, entranced by the rhythm, unaware of the trap it was being led into. We held our breath, praying the plan would work. As Omori lured the beast toward the circle of stones, the villagers watched from their hiding spots, barely daring to breathe. The tension was unbearable, each step felt like a test of fate. We knew one misstep, one wrong beat, could cost Omori his life. The beast seemed almost hypnotized, its gaze locked on Omori's hands as he continued to drum. Omori moved with a slow, steady confidence, his eyes never leaving the creature's burning gaze. Finally, he reached the edge of the stone circle, and he stepped inside, continuing his drumming. The beast followed him in, its massive form crossing over the line of stones. Once inside, Omori took a deep breath and let out a powerful shout, a sound that shattered the night, breaking the eerie silence that had gripped our village for generations. The beast roared in response, thrashing as if the sound had broken its trance. It clawed at the ground, attempting to escape the stone trap, but the circle held firm. Omori took a step back, his face resolute. "This is your prison now," he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Your power over us is ending." The beast snarled, eyes blazing with fury as it clawed at the stones, unable to break free. For the first time, we saw it as something vulnerable, trapped within the very silence it had imposed on us for so long. But we knew this was only the beginning. The beast's fury was far from spent, and its strength seemed to grow with each attempt to break free. We could only watch, terrified and hopeful, as Omori prepared to face it head-on. The beast's growls shook the air, and we felt the ground beneath us tremble as it tried to break free from the trap. It clawed at the stones, each strike sending cracks through the earth. For a moment, it seemed as if it might shatter the circle and escape. But Omori stood firm, his gaze steady, unyielding. He stepped closer to the beast, close enough that he could feel the heat of its breath, see the flicker of rage in its glowing eyes. The beast roared, a terrible sound that echoed across the village, rattling the doors and windows of our huts. We trembled, fear gripping us as we watched Omori face the beast alone. But he showed no fear, only a quiet determination. With a steady hand, Omori lifted a small, polished stone from his pocket. He held it out to the beast, his voice soft but unwavering. "You have lived in darkness for too long," he said. "This silence you impose on us is a reflection of your own fear, isn't it?" The beast snarled, but its eyes flickered, almost as if it understood him. Omori took a step closer, his voice steady. "This stone was given to me by the elders of another village, a village that was once plagued by a darkness like yours. It has the power to reveal truth and to banish fear. Look into it, and see your true self." For a moment, the beast hesitated, its furious gaze fixed on the stone. Slowly, almost reluctantly, it leaned forward, drawn to the stone's polished surface. As it looked into it, a change came over the creature. Its snarls quieted, its growl softened, and its fiery eyes dimmed. The beast seemed to shrink, its massive form becoming less solid, more shadow than flesh. And then, with a final, mournful wail, it vanished, leaving only a dark mist that drifted slowly into the air. The silence that followed was different from the silence we had known. It was a silence of peace, not of fear. Omori lowered the stone, his face calm, and looked around at the villagers. "You are free now," he said. "The beast is gone." The village was eerily quiet after the beast vanished. None of us dared to make a sound, even though the fear that gripped us for years was gone. We simply didn't know how to be anything other than silent. We had spent so long afraid that we almost forgot what it was like to speak, to laugh, to live without terror. Omori stood in the clearing, his calm presence reminding us that we were safe now. He walked over to the elders, who looked at him with gratitude mixed with confusion. They were thankful, of course, but the life we had known had changed so suddenly. What were we to do now? One of the elders, a woman named Mama Kolu, spoke softly, her voice rusty from years of disuse. What now, stranger? You have freed us, but our voices feel like strangers in our own mouths. Omari smiled kindly. It will take time to adjust, but your voices are yours to use. Speak, sing, laugh, do whatever brings you joy. Life was not meant to be silent. The villagers looked around, uncertain. A small child nearby, unafraid and curious, let out a laugh, her giggle breaking the tension. It was a sound we hadn't heard in years, and it seemed to awaken something within us. Slowly, people began to murmur, testing their voices, their words coming out in fits and starts, like birds taking flight for the first time. One by one, voices began to fill the air. First, whispers, then cautious laughter, then conversations that grew louder with each passing moment. It was a sound so unfamiliar that it felt like a dream. For so long, we had lived in fear, bound by silence, and now, with Omari's help, we were finally free. That night, our village celebrated in a way we had never celebrated before. It was as if the silence had been lifted from our souls, and the air was filled with voices, laughter, and song. Days turned into weeks, and life in the village began to transform. People rediscovered the joy of speaking, singing, and even shouting, testing the boundaries of their voices. Children ran freely, their laughter filling the air, while adults learned to converse in full voices rather than gestures and glances. Omari remained with us, teaching us new ways to communicate, guiding us in rebuilding the bonds that silence had strained. He was patient, kind, and encouraging, helping us find strength in our voices. He taught the children songs and encouraged the elders to tell stories, preserving the rich history that had been hidden beneath years of quiet fear. It wasn't easy, of course. Some of the older villagers found it difficult to let go of the silence that had become second nature. For them, the beast shadow still lingered, a reminder of the danger that once ruled our lives. But Omari assured them that the darkness was gone, replaced by the warmth of community and the light of freedom. Omari gathered us all in the village square. I must leave soon, he announced. My journey continues, and there are others who need my help. But remember, your voices are yours to keep. Use them to lift each other up, to share stories, to pass on wisdom. Silence is no longer your prison. We looked at him, a mixture of gratitude and sadness filling our hearts. He had given us a precious gift, one we would never forget. And though we knew he had to go, it was difficult to imagine life without him. Before he left, Omari gave Mama Kolu a stone, much like the one he had used to banish the beast. This stone holds the memory of your voices, he explained. It will remind you of the strength you found here, so that even in difficult times, you will remember that fear can be conquered. With that, Omari took his leave, disappearing into the forest as quietly as he had come. Even after Omari left, the villagers continued to speak of the beast. For years, it had been a shadow over our lives, and though it was gone, its presence remained in our memories, shaping the stories we passed on to each new generation.